so many inner anxieties and outer sadness. We hear sighing of myself not yet shedding the old, sighing, fear about the future, pain of heart and body, loneliness and sense of collapse in this time, job loss and bankruptcy, sighing from our family. We crush our hearts, seeing terrors and victims, refugees and a huge war that crosses the border, obese dictators and his malnourished children, racism and ethnic eradication, and that photo of a dying little child and a vulture waiting near, and this press news, an Afghan girl in fear who finally could escape into an American military aircraft with Papa, and a sound of approaching suicide bomb. This is the world we are living in, the unfathomable darkness that takes away everything of our dream and dignity. And who we are. Aren't we the people poor in mind but have dreams? Poor but merciful, small but try to live cleanly, painful but have a lot of love, making many efforts but always little reward. The Paralympics were held last month. This Summer Olympics has continually streamed over the stadium. We can get over it. We can get over it. The Olympic athletes were heading forward. Wonderful, the effort of mankind. Amazing, the motivation of mankind. Everyone who saw the competition was impressed. But should we only just admire their motivation and their effort? Was I the only one wondering why life is so unfair while watching the competition? Years ago, this news surprised the world. The Olympic gold medal was put up for auction. It was because of poverty. And is it impossible to imagine this way? How many Paralympic athletes will refuse to turn their medals into a healthy body, if possible? That we used to live is this earth, a land of curse binding that seemed to be eternal. To the richest people in the world and to the people on the street, as long as we live on this earth, an earthen bubble, as human society has been so, the sadness and anxieties come repeatedly and repeatedly, without exception, if not the bubble is pricked. That African boy dying in front of the vulture in the Pulitzer Prize winning photo. Is there no country for him to regain his smile and grow up vividly like a prince before this earthen bubble breaks? No place for that refugee girl to bloom her dream? Is there the country where our being poor in mind, our being pure, our figure weeping well, our thinking other people's happiness first, our heart gentle, our mouth not saying back against our persecutors, our weakness where only sad things gather, become the very reason of pleasure, become the subject of envy? The Bible is showing clearly The country is near. And the king of the country is, wow, our Father, the God. If the threshold to enter the country is high, it is meaningless. If Afghan girl met another high wall in her new country, does her escaping from fear have a meaning? Our Father's house is the place anyone can come if we wish. A top tire company announced recruitment requirement for new employees. New employees are 100% decided only by interviewing the founder. The applicants, who were well armed with the knowledge aiming the company, were afraid of the interview. They doubted. They lost their confidence because they expected a very difficult interview that would be exhausting in a heavy atmosphere. So they have flowed to other company that can pass with their own knowledge they prepared. On the other hand, some people were the exact opposite. They were not very knowledgeable and have good grade. So originally, they didn't even think about the entrance exam for this company. However, to hear the news that they only will have an interview with the founder, with hesitating, they visited the window of that company, and that they got what polite invitations to the company. The interview on the day was like an endlessly kind and merciful father. He also experienced poverty, suffering, and bullying before, and his scar was engraved yet on his hand. Everyone knew the reason of the tears in their eyes when they left the interview room. The Bible invites all to come, both rich and poor, and is calling to receive God's grace without paying. The prodigal son, okay. Those who failed are welcome too. Those who have caused trouble to society are also okay. The invitee was born in a stable manger, so the threshold of the country is extremely low. No worldly great achievement is required. Sophisticated worldly sense is useless. Long social service is not needed. With these things we cannot pay the kingdom of heaven. Come with bare hand. Remember, everyone, that we are originally children of God. We don't have to bring what to brag about to the Father of salvation. God knows what our names and how the number of our hair and what we are thinking. He only wishes to hear our voice calling for salvation. He made the beginning and the end. He knows the end of the world is only a little left. So he is full of heart that want to move us to his kingdom. That day for the children of God is a day of grace that calls binding ends. Even though we are children of God, we have been sold like a slave, have wandered in the darkness where we can get nothing to our resistance, and do have not known what we turned into an enemy of the God. Please remember, everyone, the thinking of God the Father is different from ours. That we cannot do is possible for him. The lifelong worries of us are momentary thing to him. So is the time we return to God. We guess Will he accept us when we get home? Something difficult questions doesn't God ask? Heavy compensation wouldn't he ask? Scold not me severely. Another good things doesn't he order me to do before I die? But the thought of God and us is as the sky and the earth. That we only do is saying this word in our last breath. Jesus, thanks your cross. I love you. It's all. In order to emphasize the importance of this last word, the Bible does not omit to record what happened to these two people. The sinner who was in executing his death penalty beside Jesus' cross said in his last breath, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And he saved. Another man is here. He is the commander of the Roman soldiers who hanged Jesus. Seeing what Jesus cried out and how Jesus breathed his last, he confessed, truly, this man was the Son of God. The way to salvation was opened to him.